Today, we're going to be talking about how you can get an awesome metal tone for less than $200. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to metal. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can get a heavy, awesome metal tone for less than $200. Now, we're going to assume you have a computer. You need a computer. So I hope you have one. Now I know, computer, man, you need a tube amp. If you want the best sound, man, you need a tube amp. It's all about the feel. I don't disagree with that comment. But if you just want to get into playing guitar and you really want an awesome metal tone without breaking your bank, without spending too much money, this is definitely the way to go. Not only can you get an awesome tone, but the versatility that you get out of going digital is just amazing. So let's get right into it. The very first thing you need after having a computer to be able to get an awesome metal tone out of your guitar is an interface, because you need something to put your guitar into the computer. Now what I recommend is the Focusrite 2i2. This thing is awesome because it sounds awesome. It's got two inputs. You can plug your guitar and you can also plug a microphone into it at the same time and get them recorded, no problem. Now, it has an extra bonus. It comes with free software. It comes with digital audio workstations, the software needed to process audio from an interface. For Mac, it comes with Pro Tools. For a PC, it comes with Ableton Live. Both fully functional and able to do everything we're doing today with free plugins included that are the same as what we're going to use today. Although I'm going to be using Cubase 10, it's the software I use. It's a paid software, but I'm going to be using the free plugins that come with it, which the same thing is available in Ableton Live or in Pro Tools, just their versions of it. So, we've got our interface. We've got it set up. We've got our digital audio workstation software installed. Let's plug the guitar in. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, that's not heavy. That wasn't heavy at all. So what we really need to do next, we need to build our signal chain. The first thing you're going to need is a gate. You'll thank me for this later. You need a noise gate. Let's set it up real quick. Go into the dynamics section, put a gate in, make the gate as fast as possible. Just lower all the settings. The release though, maybe around 60 milliseconds is okay unless you have automatic release. If you do, turn it on like I am. If it has a peak to RMS feature like this one does, just put it all the way to peak. If it doesn't have that, it's going to be looking at peak anyways, so don't worry about it. Also, if it has a live button, please press the live button. We're going to be playing live guitar. All right, that's set up. Let's turn it off and leave it for now. The next thing you're going to need is an EQ. This is a magical piece of software that's amazing. So we'll load in an EQ. We'll leave it off for now. Next, you need your amp. For an amp, we're going to be using the Ignite Emissary from STL Tones. This thing is a beast of an amp. It's well renowned and it just sounds awesome. Better yet, it comes with an impulse response loader. What that means is the impulse response loader simulates your guitar cabinet and the microphone placement in front of it. Best part is, this software is free. So after you get your interface and you paid for that, you got the free software that came with it, you just download one more piece of free software we're done. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I really don't know how this thing can be free. Last, we're going to need one more EQ. So we're going to put an EQ after all that. And again, I'm going to leave that off for now. So first, let's just turn on the amp, the IR loader. Now I'm going to set up the IR loader really quick. So this has the Randall Kirk Hammett signature cabinet in it. What I like to do is to put an SM57 in the center and a 441 off axis. Now, I'll raise the volume of the SM57 just a little bit. I like it to be a little more pronounced. And this has a bunch of cool little features. So with it, you can cut off the low frequencies. I'll do that around 70 hertz. Cut off the high frequencies. By default, it's 6,000 hertz. I like to raise that up to a little over 7,000. Then you've got a resonance. This is kind of the way that bass frequencies resonate. I'll turn that up on the SM57 and down on the 441. These are just the settings I like. Please play with them and find what you really like for your tone. Now, one cool thing about the NAD IR as opposed to some other IR loaders is the room knob. This simulates the space of a room. Now, I don't like too much of that, but just a little subtle effect, so I turn it barely on. It's like 2%. So we've got that on. We've got our amp on. Now I've loaded some of my settings in here. On the amp, I think it sounds way too scooped right out of the box. So it's got this switch for shape. I will flip it up. That gives it a little bit more of a flat tone. I'll lower the bass a little bit, just to about 4. I'll raise both of the mids, the low mids and high mids, up to about 6, just a little bit. I bring the treble down actually, just to 4. Then you've got the depth, the way that the power tubes handle bass frequencies. I'll turn that down to about 4 and the presence up to about 6. You notice I don't make really big changes here. Just a little bit to make the amp sound smooth and to really get the distortion that I'm looking for. This is the basis of the tone that I'm creating here. Again, you can play with these tone knobs all you want to find the sound that you want to start with. But remember, this is where you start. This isn't my entire tone. But now that I've got the amp on, I've got the IR loader on, let's see how it sounds. We're making progress. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is tailor the distortion. We're going to focus the distortion on the sound of the guitar that we want it to be focused on. That's what the pre-EQ is for. So load in the pre-EQ here. What I'll first do is I cut off things that I'm not going to use. So I'm going to cut off everything over 9,000 hertz. But around 9,000, there's still some information. So I turn the Q up a little bit to make sure it's not cutting off too much right there. Next, I want to find the fundamental tone of the guitar that I want. So I'll put a really low Q and boost up harshly, maybe around 12 dB. And I sweep that around to find the sweet spot, to find the real tone I want. For me, it's always around 600 hertz or so. After I do that, though, I'm still boosting some bass frequencies I don't want. So we'll put in a low cut. And again, by ear, I'll normally sweep that around till it sounds just right. Then, brighten the guitar up just a tiny bit. I like a brighter tone. So around 2,000 hertz, I put a little bit of an extra boost in there. Now, let's kick on that EQ and hear how that sounds. So now that we've got our guitar focused, all right. Now we're getting somewhere, but you also might notice it's noisy. It's really noisy. Let's turn on the gate. Silence! I like silence. Isn't that nice? Yay. So, what we need to do now is put on that post EQ. There are some frequencies in here that are just harsh and annoying. So when I load up the post EQ, the first thing that I do is I'll go in and I'll take out about 3,800 hertz. So you put a Q all the way up, maybe to a 10 on here, and then I'll pull out literally 10 dB of that 3,800 hertz. That just cleans up the tone a lot. But it can dull your guitar tone if you pull out that much. So I'll go back in and add a little 2 dB boost around 3,500. This boosts the frequencies around what I took out to keep the brightness in the guitar. But the low end was missing a little bit of punch. So I'll go in around 160, 170 hertz and add a little boost. Again, 2.5 dB or so. You don't want to boost too strongly because you don't want to mess up the tone or just do something that's just going to sound strange. So the last thing I do is scoop my mids. Now the beauty of an EQ is you can scoop the mids the way you want to. You're not stuck to the tone stack that's in the amp. Pull out however much you want and then just start sweeping through the mids to find the sweet spot for you. For me, it ends up being a little bit below 400 hertz. And I pull out about 6 dB. Let's kick it on and see how it sounds. All right, that's a pretty badass tone, I think we can agree. It's heavy. Remember, you can play with the pre-EQ all you want to focus the distortion where you want. You can play with the amp controls to tailor the distortion sound how you want it to be. You can use different cabinet models to find the sound you want, and then you can tailor that tone with the post EQ to really make this tone your own. But the best part is, we made that tone for less than $200, providing you already own a PC or Mac. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, smash that little thumbs up button so he turns blue like this guitar, and subscribe. Share the video with your friends, and we'll see you next time.